is Generation Z?
Let's get some answers. Two opinion editors for the San Diego Union-Tribune just wrapped up a 9-part podcast titled Hello, Gen Z. They spoke with dozens of members of Gen Z, along with experts from the Brookings Institution and Pew Research Center, to get this generation's thoughts on racial justice, culture, politics, and mental health. I'd like to welcome both Christy Totten and Abby Hamblin to the floor. Ladies, thank you for making time for us and joining us. First off, could you define Gen Z for our viewers, kind of in terms of age and how big this demographic actually is?
Yes, so I'm really glad you asked that question, because I think that a lot of people think that anyone who's just kind of young these days is a millennial, just kind of goes with the digital savviness of young people these days. But Generation Z is younger than millennials, so we have a whole new generation, and that's why we're saying hello to them. So it's 20% of the population. They were born in 1997 or after, and so that makes the oldest members about 23 years old. So more importantly, they're entering the job force. They're going to be voting for the first time. They're at an interesting age to take a look at them.
Why did you guys decide to do this project? Maybe I'll throw this one to Christy. What drew you guys to this subject and fleshing it out this way?
Sure. Well, this project started before I came on board, but I know it was interesting to the staff because they are so racially diverse, and it's a big question, especially at a time, in our country, while we're having all these racial conversations about racial justice, how they might shape that. So I know that's one of the reasons we wanted to look at it, but because also they are coming of age. The oldest are 23. They're just graduating college. As Abby said, they may be voting for the first time. They're starting their first jobs, and they're really just starting to shape the country for the first time.
They are definitely starting to step up. As somebody from Gen X, a little bit older, what would you guys say is the defining point of this generation? What most defines this generation?
Well, I think it's a few things, right? It is the racial diversity, but it's also they're so digitally savvy. So they were born 1997 and after. If you recall, 2007 was when the iPhone first came on the scene. The oldest of them were 10 years old. They've never known a world where they didn't have a computer in their pockets, and they're so smart about it. I think, as we've seen, they mobilize overnight with their cell phones and are just sort of always connected. Abby?
Yeah. I think if you look at the episodes and the way we broke up this mini-series, the episode content kind of explains who they are. So, they're going to be the most educated generation. They're enrolling in college at higher rates. They're also faced with a pandemic. We have an entire episode about their mental health and how, Pew Research found that about half of the oldest members of generation either lost a job or someone in their household lost a job because of the pandemic. So it's just a really interesting generation at a really interesting time.
Yeah, they were already very unique with their digital life. Now they're dealing with the pandemic, something we haven't seen in a century in this country. Ladies, is there anything that really surprised you about this generation in this process?
I think their open-mindedness. So a term they taught us in the reporting of this was unlearning, and that's really just being able to listen to people's opinions and adapt and change your mind sort of on the fly. And they were actually really proud of this. When they told us about this concept, we asked them, well, what did you unlearn recently? And each of them had like a long list to share that they were so excited about. I think that is pretty unique to Gen Z and really useful for the moment. But other than that, just their open-mindedness, their awareness of themselves. I think at the same age, I'm a millennial. I don't think I knew what generation I belonged to. I definitely had friends who were activists, but I think it was, a minority of people, whereas now it seems like this generation is just so plugged in at such a young age.
As a parent to a couple of Gen Zers, I can kind of acknowledge that. Just really quickly, before we let you go, Abby, could you tell us where can people find this series of podcasts?
Yeah, so thanks again for having us. It is International Podcast Day, so it's a great time to be here. You can go to SanDiegoUnionTribune.com/HelloGenZ. We have all the episodes there. On social media, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at HelloGenZ. And then just search your favorite podcast listening app. We're in most of them, Spotify, Google, and Apple, the main ones. Just search Hello Gen Z.
All right, look forward to checking it out. Abby Hamblin and Christy Totten, thank you so much for your time, and good luck with the podcast.
Thank you.